In the past year, we've had 4 former BC Attorneys General say it's time to legalize marijuana. We've had mayors from several BC communities, including Vancouver and Metchosin, agree. And now, BC's Chief Provincial Health Officer says it's time to rethink our drug policies.
I, and I am not alone in this, am concerned that our present policies of criminalisation and prohibition are less than successful in stopping drug use, in keeping drugs away from vulnerable populations, in reducing the dangers of drug use, or in keeping the profits out of the hands of untaxed illegal enterprises.
Dr. Perry Kendall held a media conference to clarify that he's not for the legalization of MDMA, also known as ecstasy, but the doctor wants us to rethink our approach to drugs.
We have seen from a recent spate of deaths and overdoses associated with street ecstasy, using street drugs can be extremely dangerous and even fatal, and the best advice is clearly not to use.
But people will use, whether it's alcohol, cigarettes, ecstasy, marijuana, human beings like their drugs. So is legalization the answer?
Probably not, although I'll admit that the current war hasn't been very successful.
But legalizing it, I worry about the youth of today. Yeah, and the abuse of it.
They're making money on taxes on the legal drugs. Maybe if they legalize that, they'll make more money on taxes.
People have access to it regardless of whether it's legalized or not, and I think making it okay, or that it's normal to get it, I think is just going to make the problem worse.
Well, if it can make ecstasy safer, that's probably not a bad route to go. And I never really understood why marijuana was illegal anyway.
It's a very difficult balance, isn't it, really?
On average in BC, there are 20 ecstasy-related deaths every year.
If we look at street ecstasy, or what's sold as ecstasy, most of it is heavily contaminated with methamphetamine, with PCP, with ketamine, and most recently with paramethoxymethamphetamine, PMMA, which was associated with a number of deaths. How many deaths would I anticipate if MDMA was, say, sold legally and restricted to certain groups? Hopefully fewer, because you could then do the packaging and the dosage and the warnings.
I asked Dr. Kendall if the hypocrisy bothered him, why some things like alcohol and cigarettes that contribute to thousands of people dying every year are legal, and marijuana and ecstasy are not.
Not so much the hypocrisy as the illogic of what we have deemed to be legal and licit and what we have deemed to be illegal and illicit. It does not seem to be based on the harms to individuals, the harms to societies, or the intrinsic properties of any of the drugs.
In Victoria, I'm Dan Kahan for The Daily.